We're going.
Record. We're on. Okay. So my name is Scott Talley. I'm the founder of Network in Action. And, 11 years ago, when we came up with this concept, I'll tell you, all of my focus was about referrals. It was how do we get people to get referrals when we're only meeting once a month? And what can we do to increase referrals? And how do I ensure referrals? And referral. And over the last 11 years, it's really not dawned on me. It's hit me over the head like a big board that it all starts with relationships. And Tim Goehring and I have had a relationship for a number of years now that's continued to grow. And whenever he has a great new idea, I think I'm on his short list. I hope I am, because I hear from Tim, and Tim's been a great friend of mine and a great friend of Network in Action. I want to let you know that Tim's already presented 2 or 3 times over the last few years on sales and sales training. And all of those are archived in the top right-hand corner of your site. So I'd really encourage you, if you really want to get better at sales, man, his sessions are like drinking from a fire hose. And so you can go back and see all of those in the top right-hand corner under Business Solutions, and you'll see the archive and you'll see Tim's name there. So if you go watch a few of those, I would watch 2 or 3 of Tim's for sure. So about a month ago, Tim called me. He says, man, Sandler Sales Training, which Tim has a franchise in, has going to lead the pack once again on a tool. And he showed me the tool, and we purchased it right away. And we were so excited. Our first training class for Network in Action franchise owners will be utilizing what Tim's going to talk about today. So I'm going to turn it over to Tim and let him show you the future of AI and sales training, some parts of it. And I just want to tell you that, it's not unlike anything else you've ever done in your career. If you want to get better at something, you better practice at it. And this tool will help you do that. So Tim, it's all yours.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Scott. I appreciate that. And if you want to see more of what we do on a regular basis, I put it in chat just now. So that is the single best place to see what's going on in action. But I got to tell you, I'll just be upfront about it. I take practice very seriously. I was a major in the United States Marine Corps before I entered the civilian world, and we practiced all the time. I flew helicopters, and we always went to the simulator first. And what they would do is they would compound the emergencies. First you got low pressure at altitude, then you got low pressure down low, and now all of a sudden now you got smoke in the cockpit, and now you got somebody shooting at you. What are you going to do? And the idea is we always crash the helicopters in the simulators. So the idea was you don't want to crash it in real life. So I've always been a big believer in the idea of practice. I'll give you another real live example because I just saw this one a couple of months ago at this point. Anybody know who Jayden Daniels is? I like these things to be interactive. I know a lot of people don't have their cameras on. You're just here to learn, so I can deal with that. But anybody know who Jayden Daniels is? It's always better if somebody does. No?
He's quarterback, isn't he?
Yeah, there you go. He was a quarterback for LSU.
Yeah.
And then most recently, he got drafted by the Washington Commanders last season. And he was the rookie of the year for the Washington Commanders. So even if you're not a sports fan, bear with me because this is not about sports. This is about practice. And it's going to end with a question. So here's the story of Jayden Daniels. He spent 3 years at Arizona State, and he was a pretty good quarterback. Can't argue with that. But no outstanding numbers. He got recruited by LSU. In his 4th year of eligibility, he played at LSU and had a pretty decent season. His 5th year, though, something changed. The university came forward with a virtual reality headset. And I'm like, hey, Jayden, check this out. You can wear this virtual reality headset, which means you can practice all the offensive plays that we run at LSU. And we'll load in the defense that we're playing this coming week in the stadium that they're going to play in the uniform that they're going to play in, and you can do it at 2 times speed. What? Now he could practice every play they had against the competition they were going to face the following week. So here's what happened to Jayden Daniels his senior year, his 5th year at LSU. He won the Heisman Trophy. So for those of you that are not familiar with football, that's a big deal. That is the single best player in all of college football for that year. And he attributes it all to the idea that he could do 250 repetitions of the plays they were going to play against the defense that they were going to play at 2 times the speed. So by the time he got in the game, everything was slowed down. Now, he got to do this in a judgment-free zone. In other words, the coach isn't screaming at him, and he's not taking any hits, no physical toll on his body. I mean, if you did 250 snaps and you had to throw the ball that many times, I don't know about you, but my 59-year-old arm wouldn't be able to handle that. So let me take it back to this. Even better. He got recruited by the Washington Commanders, and he said, I'd be happy to take that job as long as you will buy the virtual reality technology from Louisiana State University. And he won the Rookie of the Year and took the team as a rookie to the NFC Championships. That's the Final Four NFL teams. They lost, okay? Still a good story to Tim. So here's what I mean. Professionals, in my humble experience, and I've been doing this just training professionals for 11 years, most professionals don't practice. They warm up. I'm going to explain what NIA is on their next prospect meeting, on their prospects. So here's my question to y'all. Why do you think professionals don't practice? Didn't think I was going to be mean on this.
We've been there and we've done that, and we think we know it.
Okay. Tim is actually, all Tims are smarter than everybody else, so I'm going to give him full credit, not just because of his name. But I think you're right. I think ego and pride plays into it. Like, hey, man, I'm good at this. I can afford to buy an NIA franchise. What do I need practice for? That's part of it. Another part of it is people don't want to get criticized. Or the people that, your leaders, they don't have time. Scott doesn't have time to meet with every single one of you and throw out the 25 most common objections that you're likely to face. And then even if he did, he wouldn't have the ability to give you all those in-depth analytics. So what we did here at Sandler is we developed what we call the Sandler AI Roleplay Tool. And we developed this in conjunction with a company called Udily. So Udily did all the back-end work. But what it allows us to do is let our clients practice in a simulated environment, role plays, and basic presentations. All right, so I'm going to give you a full-on demonstration of that. But what did Malcolm Gladwell say? How long does it take to become an expert? How many hours does it take to become an expert on anything? Remember that number?
10,000.
10,000 hours. Yes, sir. That's a lot. So if you did this like 5 hours a day for 7 years, then maybe you'd get there. There's a rule called the 100-hour rule. I also saw this on the internet, so it must be true. If you practice anything for 16 minutes a day, in a year, you'll have 100 hours under your belt. And 100 hours practicing anything makes you better than 95% of the people in the world practicing that same task. Crazy as that sounds. Now, back to Timothy's brilliant point. Most professionals won't practice. So here's my tagline that seems to be working right now when I'm emailing everybody. What happens if you don't practice and your competition does? What? And that's...
We come in second place, which means we don't have much money in our pocket.
In the United States Marine Corps, they taught me second place was the first loser. Sorry, I'm going to have to get more sensitive now that I'm in the real world. Okay, so here's what we got. We've got an opportunity now to practice our craft. Let me give you a little tour. So Scott gave me this. I want to show you what I did with this information he gave me. He gave me how many is this? The 13, 14, the 15 most common objections that you all are going to face when you're out there prospecting for your respective.
So Tim, let me jump in real quick. Most of these are members who have their own company. So use that as an example that we would have. Yeah, that we would have in our network in action franchise owners example. Thank you.
Even better. So regardless of what business you're running, I'm going to give you a full-on tour, and then I'll move to questions and let you guys beat me up a little bit. So here's what this looks like. In the Sandler franchise, in the Sandler AI Roleplay Tool, you can literally go in here and pick a role play. So this is the handling objections ones I just finished building out for Scott. And I'm just going to show you how this thing is constructed first, so you'd realize just how customizable this is. So inside this particular scenario, handling price objections confidently for NIA, I loaded in the persona of the person I'm going to be talking to. So we at Sandler use DISC. And DISC is just a communication style. So some people are fast-paced and task-oriented. Others are slower-paced and team-oriented. or slower paced and task oriented. And I want to make sure that I adjust the way I communicate to the person I'm communicating with. So, and I assigned this one just to NIA, but here's what I did. I loaded in all those objections that Scott gave me in that thing. So I'm allergic to in-person meetings, or I don't need a group. My reputation's already built. And all this is telling AI is how we want AI to interact with us in this particular role play. So now that I got the role play built, I can change the persona so I can make the person nice. I can make them mean. I can customize the goals. And then I can go in and I can just actually execute on one. So let me just execute on this one since I got it here. I'll give you an idea of what it looks like. And so now that this role play is pulled up, I can use this drop down arrow and say, what am I going to practice? Do I want to practice a discovery call? Do I want to practice mastering the apology? Maybe navigating conflict, a no pressure call, all the questions in the pain funnel, whatever a pattern interrupt is, that's Timmy's world. But the idea is I can pick the role play that I want. So let's just use that one, handling objections, NIH. So I got it up there. And then I pick who am I talking to in this case? So in this case, do I want to talk to Donald Trump, Bill Gates, Timmy Goehring, or nice old Scott? And then I can plug in whatever rubric I want, rubric being the success metric. In other words, what do I want to get out of this? Do I want to book a meeting? Do I want to overcome objections? Whatever it is. And as soon as it's ready to go, I just hit start. I'm going to hit it just for the fun of it. So it'll start it off, but I just so that you can see what it looks like.
That's a bit more than I was expecting. Can you help me understand how you got to that number?
So that's AI giving me the objection. Now I hit pause. The reason I hit pause is because I'm practicing. I don't know what to say. So I got to think of something to say. So I hit pause. And when I'm ready to answer, that's a little bit more than I was expecting. Can you help me understand how I got to that number? Sure, I can. Okay, so here I go. I'm glad that you brought that up. If it's more than you wanted to spend, in other words, if you're not going to see the return on that investment, then I highly recommend that you don't make the investment as well. Would it make sense if maybe I shared with you why other people do it?
Well, I appreciate your honesty about it. I've been involved with BNI before, and it worked pretty well for me.
All right, so I'm just going to hit pause because I don't want to go on and just show you how Tim handles objections. Now I got a couple of choices. If I don't like the way it went, I can just redo the session. What? Nobody has to see that I messed it up. If I do like how it went, then I'm just going to save it and view the analytics. So the analytics on that one aren't going to be really cool. So I'm just going to go down here to my library. Every single time that I make one, I get to save it. So if I'm networking, this was an NIA pain discovery with an I can literally pull in here and get some instant coaching. Gosh, here's the entire transcript. Here's what I said. Here's what they said. If I don't like what I said and I want some suggestions, I just hit this little magic wand. This is the AI magic wand. And when I hit it, it'll allow me to either rephrase it concisely or simplify it to main points. So I'm going to rephrase it concisely. And it does the work for me. Here's another way you could have said it. So in addition to whatever it is that I said word-wise, I can look at these analytics. Now, I hate this because it tells me, Tim, here's all your filler words. You said 4 times you said 2 times you said 2 times you said like. Now imagine if you were if Scott was coaching me, he's not going to say, Timmy, you used 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 filler words. That'd be too mean. Plus, he'd spend all of his time counting, apparently as bad as I am, and we'd never get our point across. So it's going to show me exactly where I said that. It highlights them right there on the screen for me. If I want to listen to them, let's hear what it sounded like in action. Yeah, this is Tim Goehring from. This is Tim Goehring. Are you kidding me? So all the filler words are there. It's also going to show me all my weak words. It's going to show me where I start. Oh man, a lot of I'm trying to get rid of right. My wife's Australian, and they say right at the end of everything. So I got to not do that. Apparently I've got a lot of bad sentence starters also. It measures. You're going to hate this. It measures listening. How much time did I talk? How much time did they talk? What? It measures my delivery. Was it perfectly centered? How was my eye contact? And how was my pacing? And what did my pauses look like? All of this is instant feedback. Now here's where it gets fun. I can try it again if I didn't like it. And what I recommend is if you didn't like the way that one went, try it again. And if you did this, remember there was 100-hour rule, 16 minutes a day. That's basically 3 role plays a day. Within a year, you're going to be better than 95% of the people selling whatever it is that you're selling. When you like it, you hit this share button. And what the share button does is allows you to type in Scott's email or Timmy's email. You can copy the links. You can text it to them so it's not coming from a weird system. And you can use this for onboarding. So if I said something like, hey, Ann, how are you different than everybody else that does what you do? All right, well, I can go in here to the presentation mode, and I can have Tim Goehring present on anything. What is the why behind what it is that you do? Why do you do this? And I get to produce this video, and then I get to save it to my library, and I get to share it with anybody that would think this is awesome. So imagine that for onboarding. You're saying, okay, here's how we're different than the competition. Here's me saying it in 5 minutes. I want you to watch it 10 times, and then I want you to practice as many times as you need to until you feel good about it. And when you like it, you share it with me. And then we jump on a meeting. And when we're doing that meeting, something special happens. We can concentrate on making that presentation 10 times better than it ever was. What? The last feature I'm going to show you is interviewing. Same thing here with interviewing. I can practice questions. So tell me about yourself. Gosh, why do you want to leave your current role? I literally, and by the way, this is all customizable. So I can choose a role play where I'm interacting with somebody, or I can choose just practice questions. But in the role play, it's going to give me question after question after question, and it's going to see how I handle them. Crazy as that sounds. So that's the Sandler AI role play coach. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. I love the idea of practice because, quite frankly, I want to be better than everybody else. With that in mind, let me open it up for questions. Look like Michael Shaw's got one.
Yeah, I coached football for 35 years, and I discovered something when we were kids. People told us practice makes perfect. It doesn't. Practice makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect. And that's what I have an issue that I wanted to mention too, that when you talk about fill-in words like and whatever, I hate those. They're terrible when you're making a presentation. It's like saying,
Yes, sir.
that's the worst thing you can do because they don't know. You're better off to say fair enough and get a response from them that way. But this and the other fill, I'm confused about that. Why would you want to do that?
You make a really good point. And by the way, look at what I just did. I started the sentence with, you make a really, obviously. All right. So here, let me back up. Yes, sir. You make a fantastic point. You've got to learn to hate it. I used to wear a rubber band around my wrist. So every time I catch myself saying, like I just did again, I pull that rubber band back and snap my wrist. That way there's a physical manifestation as well as a verbal one. And when you're getting coached by somebody, and by the way, I recommend spend some time with Michael Shaw. He's going to speak the truth, right? That's what coaches do. However, if in a real environment, the coaches doesn't want to bum their players out. They don't want to bum the professionals working in the organization out. This is what this program allows you to do, is take a look at it in real time so you can get real feedback if you do want to get awesome. Crazy as that.
No, I agree. That's good.
Who else has a question for me? Go ahead, Timothy.
Well, likewise with what the coach said, I coached girls basketball, and I'll never forget our first game of a season. We lost by 4 points, 2 baskets. I kept running with the girls, and I would make them run, and I would run with them up and down the court, and I was working on their aerobics. The very last game of the season, we played that same team. We were dominating them by 20 points, and it was because I observed my running with them that I had worked their aerobics to where we could outlast every team with endurance and beat them, and it worked. And so, yeah, I'm in agreement with Coach Saul. And then as far as getting rid of the ums and uhs, if you go to Toastmasters International, they will help you get rid of it because they ring a bell every time you put in a filler. And but I will admit this AI is probably better because the human ear can get lazy for hearing it, whereas the AI everything.
So a great point. I'd like to add, just our usage, so maybe it gets your wheels turning about how you might use it. So in our case, when we train new franchise owners, we come into it with about 5 days of training on Zoom. And we've used to carve out time for role play, which no one enjoyed, right? Nobody enjoyed. You got brand new, you've been with somebody a couple hours for 3 days. Now all of a sudden and it's uncomfortable, and you don't really even know if they're doing it during the breakout room, if they're even doing the role playing, because you're trusting that they are. So we're now able to assign each day a different task. So maybe they get 2 hours of training during classroom training, and then they've got 30 to 45 minutes of homework on the specific topic we covered on Monday, and then a different topic on Tuesday, and a different topic. By the time they get to Thursday and Friday, they're going to have 5 days to practice as many times as they want, different avatars, different scenarios, and then send those to our sales trainer for her to judge them and grade them and critique, the better word, offer positive feedback. And we think that we're going to increase our training 10 to 20 fold. I mean, there's just no way someone's not going to come out of this far more advanced than they were in the traditional way we've done training. And it's so affordable. I don't know if you want to talk about that, Tim, but it's super affordable.
Yeah, it's as a sales trainer, I try to avoid talking about price for some reason. So let me go to that. But let me emphasize something that Scott and Michael and Timothy all were saying. Information and education will never yield transformation without application and modification. In other words, you can read about and watch videos. That's cool. But until you try it, that's application. Until you modify it, all right, that worked when I was talking to Scott, but now I'm talking to Courtney. I might have to adjust the way I'm talking. If I'm talking in a Southern accent versus somebody from the Northeast talking really, really fast, I might have to change the way I'm communicating. I call that quantum communication. I stole it from quantum physics. I made this up, so it may not make any sense. But when you change the way you communicate with someone, you change the person you're communicating with. And so this is allowing you to get in there and dig in on this. Now, let me go to the price. I charge $12,000 a year per person for coaching in a group setting with different people from different industries. And the most popular answer I get is no, because they got to invest time. They got to invest effort. And it's a great business. I've been doing it for 11 years. I'm making a lot of money and having a lot of fun doing it, changing lives, watching people make more money. However, I hate it when somebody says no, because what they're really saying is, I don't believe you. I don't believe that if I paid $12,000 for the year and I spend 90 minutes with you in a group setting every week, practicing different things like my opening and talking about money and aligning expectations and discovering the client's reasons for doing business, that I would actually make that 12 grand back. And when they don't believe me, it hurts my feelings. So here's the cool thing about the Sandler AI Roleplay Coach. It's $400 for the whole year. That's less than $35 a month. Now, here's why I'm not afraid of it. I believe that AI is the future. AI is not going to ever replace human beings, but human beings that do not embrace AI are going to be replaced. I don't know if you know the story of buffalo on the open plains, but if there's a herd of buffalo on the open plains and there's a storm on the horizon, the buffalo will stampede into the storm. So they get it over with faster and they spend less time in the storm. Well, AI is the storm. And Timmy is the buffalo. And I'm looking for a herd. So anybody that wants to run headlong into this AI storm, come on. Now, they're going to be competitors, and there may already be, for an AI role play type thing, but not loaded with a Sandler chassis. That's our competitive advantage. So, Scott's a big believer in Sandler also. We've spent 58 years. That's how long Sandler's been around, coincidentally. Timmy, too. It's the only reason I remember the number. Right, is 58 years of trying to anticipate how are clients going to resist change, resist whatever it is that we're offering, whether it's a product or a service. And then how are we going to mitigate that risk? How are we going to lessen that impact so we can get them to yes, so that we can deliver what it is that they're looking for, so they can find that success that they're yearning for? That's the fun.
So, yeah, that's incredible. Most small to medium-sized businesses, when they hire a sales rep, may or may not have the training program that they would like to have. So imagine this small investment, a small investment of time, number one, to set up the avatars and the scenarios, and then the small investment of money to be able to hang on to that rep you hired. That's the most expensive mistakes I've ever made in my company. We're hiring salespeople in different cities, hoping they would ramp up. They don't, and then you got to rehire. So this is, if you're hiring any sales or have any salespeople and you'd like to increase their performance, not only do you get the AI practice tool, but you get the Sandler, all the meat on the bones, which is incredible stuff for $400.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can say, I'm not against information education. The single best, one of the first books Sandler wrote, one of the best books Sandler wrote, is called You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike in a Seminar. That's the title. And I actually met the gentleman that ghost wrote that book for David Sandler. He's a professor at Palm Beach Atlantic University, which just happens to be in the county that I work in. And he was writing a book on franchising, and he called up Sandler and said, hey, I would like to interview a Sandler franchisee for my book. So when I met him, I'm like, well, tell me some of the books you wrote. And he said, well, you might know one of them. You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike in a Seminar, which really is very applicable considering that book was written, in the mid-90s, early 90s. Here's what I mean. It turns out, if you want to get better at riding your bike, it depends on where you practice riding your bike. And to Michael's point, what environment do you do? I ride a unicycle. You don't want to go riding bikes with me. I will ride my mountain bike down a ski slope. The average person just wants to ride their beach bike along the sunny beaches of St. Augustine. That's easy. And so I'm a kind of a believer. If you want to go further, then you got to take Michael's advice. You got to practice the right way. You can't just shank balls into the woods for an hour and say, I drove 100 balls. I should be good at golf now. Done.
Nathan has a question, Tim. $400 per person or location?
Per person. Yep, because it's individualized. They got to get in there and practice it. And the portal collects their videos. It allows them the privacy in a judgment-free zone with instant feedback to practice.
Yep. Now, you can also load your own company's information, just like Tim was about to show you. I gave Tim 12 or 15 objections that people might give our franchise owners before deciding to join Network in Action. So yes, you can load your own data, and you're always going to have the assistance from Sandler's information.
And AI is there smarter? I can actually upload. Let's say I collected the 84 most common objections in any business, which I did, I can upload that document to AI.
Yeah. Sean asked, is there a place where we can demo this online? And yes, we'll put that up. But Tim, I don't know if you want to put a link to it in the chat as well. And then
put two links in there. Here, the link that's in there right now is the cool marketing demo. Goes really fast. If you want to see my version of it, kind of a repeat of this, let me find that really quick. I'll put that in there too. It's just me kind of taking you for a personal tour of the same thing. So you'll have two demo videos that you can look at now. One is very corporate. One is Timmy Goehring doing the same thing. And Michael Shaw had a question also, so I want to make sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to, again, from a coach's perspective, when I coached football in high school, I'd rather get a kid who'd never played football before than to get somebody who played for a bad coach, because I have to work at getting him to zero before I can teach him anything. The same thing goes for hiring people. When you hire people, you don't want to spend a lot of time interviewing the wrong people. So you need to make sure that you have a job description, and you have, when people come in to be interviewed, that they know that they're going to go through a process. And that's really important. I taught marketing at Azusa Pacific University, and I found out a lot of things about doing that. I found out the difference between sales and marketing. There's a huge difference. I have people who present me with their business card, vice president of sales and marketing, and I'd always ask them, which one are you failing at? So
I
that's
love it.
it.
You're using all my
gets
favorite
people to think
lines.
about it.
I love it.
Yeah. Yes.
Dan, do you mind bringing up business solutions real quick with you to share the screen if you don't mind?
And by the
I
way,
wanna
they
just
call that the experience paradox. Right? How are you gonna? I would rather hire a kid right out of college with no experience who's coachable than hire somebody with 15 years of experience doing it the wrong way and try to make it work. And how are you going to get a job if you don't have any experience? And by the time you get the experience, you're too expensive. So this is the big leap. This is going to bridge that gap.
Right. What I'd like to do is show you real quick. Dan's going to go to the Network in Action site. And once you're logged in the top right-hand corner where it says member benefits under business solutions, in short order, we will have a link on here where you can order this straight from Tim. So you come down here, we'll have it right here on the second row. So you'll see a link to the AI tool where you can just click on it and it'll submit the order to Tim and he delivers it like within a few minutes. And it's all very professional. It's very easy to understand. It's got video. And what other questions might anyone have? Thank you, Dan.
Where's that link again?
It's under business solutions in the top right-hand corner. You won't see it just yet, but we'll have it up by this time tomorrow. Where you get, and that's a place where you can go get all kinds of tools, whether you want LinkedIn training or an expedited passport or list of businesses in a certain industry. That's sort of like the silver American Express card experience of Network in Action. And don't be afraid to check that once in a while and see if there's anything you need to pick up. But we will have a link to Tim's program in short order.
Yeah, so I had a quick question. So, thanks for answering the one on the per person thing, but how much customization can you make as far as like I guess what the objections are, right?
100% customizable.
Okay.
I mean, what you can't do, Nathan, is, you can't change Sandler's instructions. They're going to be there and that's solid as a rock. But I went in and created different scenarios of people I wanted to present to, and I went in and created different objections. So 100% customizable.
Yeah. And so then we fill it, you tweak and everything, but then there's actually a human that's reviewing it at the back end to give feedback. I just want, I couldn't pick up at the last portion once you had it all transcripted out. Somebody's reviewing that, or that's just the AI part of it where you're looking over it, reviewing.
Right now, it's all AI, but I'm administrating the program, so I'm here to help you. I mean, I'm a coach for a living, and I'm trying to unemploy myself at 59 years old. If I can get this thing working right, then maybe I'll retire someday. But just to give you an idea, Nathan, let me go back into the tool, and I'll give you. So I'm trying to think of where I was going to take you. Let me just take you to a role play. And you don't have to start at the beginning every time. You can literally start from an example. So let's say I wanted to use this one, and I can just create a duplicate of it right away. And now here it is. Now I can go in and I can edit it, and I can type right over this stuff. But the good news when I'm typing over it, so let's say right now the context is I'm going to tell the AI bot what I want it to act like. So this is me talking to AI. You've had 2 brief conversations with this salesperson, enough to understand what they offer. So I'm saying you have some hesitations. If they stay calm, you stay calm. If they get excited, you get excited. Once I type that in there, I can hit rephrase. I love this function because I kind of am a stream of consciousness author, which maybe not the best thing, but I can hit rephrase. Here it goes. Now AI is rewriting that.
I would put that in there for sure. And then also, if you're ready to do so you could just, if it doesn't pop up in there, just let me know and then we could add it into the look.
Oh, all right. I thought that was a question, but here I go back to it. I can rephrase it. If I don't like the rephrasing, I can undo it. So when I'm building one of these from scratch, and let me go backwards. It'll give me the option to get out. I'm going to discard my changes. And let's say I'm creating a new one from scratch. I'm just going to say, Tim, pitching Scott, just to get past the first one. Oh, man. Tim, pitching Scott. I'm going to create this one with AI. That's just what it's called. This takes a little bit longer as it loads it in there, but then I can go through there, Nathan, and every little thing is customizable. So I can give AI instructions about how I want it to act. I can customize the objections, and I can even control the AI bot in the interaction. Come on, hurry up. There we go. So now I can type in the context, potential investor. Let me just put it, let me hit continue. I'm getting pretty good at this pitching it. So now it takes a first stab at it just based on that. You're pitching a product or service to a potential buyer. Look how it rephrased it for me. Now I'm going to go in here and I don't like that context. Here's where I can either type it over up to 10,000 words or rephrase it. I can add files. I'm assuming you've already got some documents like that Word document that Scott gave me. I just hit add files and I can upload it from my library. So if I've already collected all the, let's say it's a product company, you're selling products or services, and I've got a description of each service. So the client says, well, what do y'all do? Do you do anything in this space? I can already upload that from my files. I don't have to recreate the wheel every time. I get too excited. Don't get me going down these rabbit holes. Does that answer your question, Nathan, or does it feel like a dodge?
Yeah, no, I think it helps. You know, I think it's probably one of those that I'd need to see in action and then trying to, you know, because obviously you're looking for it to give the feed that there'd be a feedback back loop and then people to tighten and get better and be better at the handling the objections. You know, it's because it is a big opportunity for us. So I like anything that gets a lot of reps, you know. And so.
Now you touched on something that's in my area of expertise, because some people will say, okay, well, Tim, the objection of price comes up all the time. How do I handle that? And if you don't know the answer, I produce videos for a living. If you go to my LinkedIn page, for example, you can look at the 10 ways to handle the price objection or the 5 ways to handle it if you get ghosted in video format. You could upload my videos from LinkedIn to this thing and train it on how to do it. Now, obviously, I'm available for consulting as well. The reason I think that the AI is going to feed my business is people like you will say, well, great, I know what the objection is, Tim. That's way too expensive. How do I deal with that objection? And that's where I come in. I'm just going to show you something because, well, I think it's hilarious. This is what I do for fun. So let me put this one in here. Hang on just a second. And share my screen. This is what I call my resistance mitigation lifetime collection, which is ridiculous, but that's kind of what I do for fun. So this has a lot of tabs in it. These are all 10 price resistance videos that I produced in my time so that you all wouldn't have to do it. I've written down every single thing they could say. Your price is too high. This is a big investment. I need to run this by my partner. My partner may not like this idea. I've written down the preventative Sandler technique, which is a course in and of itself. And then I've written down a suggested way to handle that resistance that they presented. So if you want my homework, I can load all this stuff in there for you. I can send you this spreadsheet. I can upload this spreadsheet to the program, which I think is extraordinarily exciting. So I spent my whole life trying to figure out, how do I overcome this? How do I get to yes? How do I get people to let me work with them so they can make more money and have a better life? Imagine this with kids, by the way. Let's say your kid owes you an apology and they don't know how to apologize. Or let's say you spend, hypothetically, $250,000 after-tax money to send your kid to the University of Georgia, and then they got to interview for a job afterwards. Well, thank goodness Tim collected all 100 interview questions he ever received and wrote them down so he could plug them into this AI bot someday that didn't even exist so you could practice it. Crazy.
Go Gators, by the way.
What's that?
Go Gators, by the way.
Yeah, I hear you. Go Dogs. And my other kid went to college in Charleston. They don't even have a football team. What was she thinking?
All right, great. Any other questions or comments? So, Tim, just take 1 second and talk about your weekly sessions as well, because I know some of our franchise owners have really enjoyed those.
So if you'd like to see me in action with our clients, I'll put it in chat again just so it's fresh. We have a management session that runs once a month, and we do 90-minute sales mastery session. We change the topic every single week. There's usually about, I would say 15 to 45 professionals that attend these sessions. And so maybe this week, I think, was the 7 base questions in the decision process. So you'll go in there, we'll introduce a topic, go to a breakout room and practice it because application and modification matter, and then come back and debrief it. If you want to see one of those, I'll also put my email in here. Just email me and let me know that you'd like to see one, and I'll send you the content ahead of time. If you want to meet with me, I'm going to put another link in there. I'm using, in case you were thinking I'm a fast typer, I'm not. I use shortcuts. I put my Calendly link in there. So if you want to meet with me, if you've got questions, you want a personal tour, you want to talk about customizing this for your organization, you want me to speak in front of another group, or maybe your NIA group, whatever it is, I'm happy to discuss this stuff. This is my life.
Where are you located?
I'm in Jupiter, Florida. So Michael, Jordan, Tiger Woods, Timmy Goehring, all the big timers live over here.
There's a few golfers there too. Doug's got a question.
Hey, thanks for all this, Tim. What I was going to say earlier when you guys were talking about practice, but thanks so much for mentioning this extra opportunity to learn. Because, I go to the driving range and I practice all day long. And, my game hasn't gotten a damn bit better. But when I learn more and practice, then I get better. So, the real key is learning and then practice, not just a lot of practice. So, so great to hear that you have this other thing so we can learn more and then practice. So anyway, I just want to make that interesting point.
Doug, I agree with you. Man, here's a test question that I mean, if I told you in 10 days, I'm going to come to your office and give you one chance to make a 10-foot putt, and if you make it, I'm going to give you 10 grand. What would you do between now and 10 days from now?
Practice, practice, practice.
Well, Michael and Tim, and sounds like Doug would probably do that. Strangely, some people will say, well, I can't possibly get better in 10 days, so I'm not going to practice. There are people like that in this world. It's like people that drive slow in the left lane of traffic. I don't get it. But there's also some people that say, well, I'm pretty darn good. I'm about as good as I can get. There's no sense of me honing my practice between now and 10 days from now. Hey, let them fall by the wayside also. This is for the people that want to, it's the Jim Collins, good to great crowd. If you're not trying to be great, you don't want to hang out with me anyway, I'll just annoy you.
But some people will pay $250 for a PGA expert to come and teach me how, and then I have a guarantee way to make 10 grand. So whenever you're up, Tim, let me know. I will definitely be sure to make that putt.
Yeah, okay. It was a hypothetical.
And I'll even bet you. Yeah, no, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good stuff. Okay. Any other questions? Tim, I appreciate your time, appreciate your knowledge, appreciate you introducing this to me personally and to the network and action groups and all the members. And just think about all the money you spend, hiring salespeople. And it's not just sales. There's other applications clearly. And I just look at this as a great cost reduction and it reinforce what you want your people to know.
It's funny that you said other applications. I don't want anybody to think it's just about sales. I've been using this with leaders for giving performance reviews to their people because they suck at being honest with their people. I've been using this with it's kind of a side project I've been working on called the Self-Esteem Academy. We have a self-esteem problem in this country right now, probably in this world. And, I've been using this with, I've got a friend that deals with autistic kids, and they're really intelligent, but articulation is not their strong suit. And even if they're interviewing for a job as a bag boy at the local grocery store, being able to communicate with other human beings is a big deal. This is going to change the world. So come on with me on that journey.
Awesome. David's got a question. Good point.
I just wanted to raise the issue that all the links that you've been talking about are not in the chat, or at least they're not showing up.
Interesting. What's going on?
I see the calendar for making love. Yeah, I see him.
Oh, you know what? They were all going directly to Scott.
That's what I
you're,
thought. That's what I
you're
thought.
right. You're right. I'm
bringing that up. All right, here they come, rapid fire.
Thanks,
There's all my
David.
classes. There is my calendar link. Here is my cell phone. What else did I put in there? Let's see.
You're gonna put in some links for demos.
Calendar links for demos.
Those are good. Here's the Timmy Goering link. And here is the Sandler AI role play coach link coming your way. And a little pro tip here. If you, now that it's in the right spot, if you click on the 3 little dots at the top of the chat, you can save the entire chat and they'll all be in a nice Word document when we close out here. So you can cut and paste them right now, or you can save the entire chat. Sorry about that. And thank you, David, for pointing out that not only does Tim have filler words, but he doesn't know how to use the chat.
No worries.
It's stuff.
Well,
Okay, well, thank you all.
Tim, we're old. I was so old when I went to school, they didn't have history. So that's old. But, it's not for sissies. So.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good one. I'm going to use that with my father this afternoon, sir. Pass it on, right?
Okay, we hope to see y'all next Wednesday on the speaker series if you're available. Come back and hear about how to fall in love with your company. And we will see you next week. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Tim.